This video will provide the viewer with the instructions on how to get started with the INTEG Visual Machine OEE system and how to configure a machine or work center for production performance monitoring and reporting. It will show you how easy it is to get up and running. As described in the previous video, you will have received at least one junior automation controller to use with the Visual Machine OEE system. For one of the work centers, you will need to define a signal that indicates a piece has been made. This can be from a proximity sensor, photo eye, mechanical contactor, something that just will go from an off to on signal each time a piece is made. After you have installed your Junior and connected it to the Ethernet network, you will want to go to the INTEG website at www.integpg.com and download our Junior support tool. The support tool is free and you load it on a Windows PC and it will help you configure your Junior. You simply download it, and when you install a Junior and you do a right-click query all of the Juniors on your network will show up. From here, you can simply right-click on a Junior and you can configure it and change its IP address to match your network settings. And you can also right-click and give the Junior a host name that'll help you identify what this Junior is used for. So let me give this Junior the name Machine 1. And I can see that the name has been changed. From the support tool, I can also launch the Junior web page. If I right click again on the Junior's name and go to Tools, Open Web Page, the Junior's web page needs to log in, and the username is Junior, J-N-I-O-R, the way we spell it, and the password is also Junior, J-N-I-O-R. From this web page, you can see the status of all the inputs, and you can actually control the outputs manually. We're going to be just focusing on the inputs today, but there are items here where you can configure various features of the Junior. I can open up a Telnet command session. I can look at files on the Junior, the configuration setting in the Junior, look at some of the logs, and so on. But for right now, we're only just worried about the digital input on the Junior. I'm going to minimize this web page for now, and there's only one configuration item that I have to make in the Junior, and that is to set the IP address of the Visual Machine server, the PC that's hosting the software. I can right click here and go to configure and say edit registry, and then it takes me to the registry editor tab in the support tool, and from here I have to go to app data buffer. That's the program running on the Junior that communicates with the Visual Machine OEE system, and I need to change the server. This software will be preloaded on your Junior when you receive it from INTEG. If I just highlight it and double click on it, and the IP address of my server for this demo is 10.0.0.36, I change it here. And then down here under Junior Server, I also have to change the remote IP address of this to 10.0.0.36. Again, all I've done is gone and changed the IP address of the Junior in two locations. I'm going to remove this Junior. I'm going to go back to the Junior web page, and I could have alternatively gone here into the registry tab, into the app data, under buffer, and you can see right here that the server address is now .36, and you can also see down here under Junior Server the IP address is .36. But what I do need to do from here is I'd like to reboot the Junior, so I'm going to start a session, a command session, log in again as Junior and Junior, and simply type the word reboot and say yes. My Junior is now rebooting. When it comes back up, the buffer software will now be configured to talk to our Visual Machine server running on the PC. Now that we've configured our Junior, we're ready to configure the INTEG Visual Machine OEE software. I launched a web page for the system by simply typing in the IP address of the PC hosting the Visual Machine software and then / Visual Machine, and up will come the main web page, and you can see there are currently not any work centers configured. So the first thing I do is I log in. The username is admin and the password is admin. This will bring up another tab at the top that allows me to go to configuration. On the configuration, there's only a few things I have to do to get up and running. The first thing I can do is put in a company name. I'll just type in demo for now. It just puts it in the upper right corner. You see the green pop up in the lower right corner saying that the changes have been saved. We also need to set up our shifts. I'm going to create a new shift. I'm just going to create the first shift for now, and I give it a start time. The start time will be 7 a.m. and the finish time will be 3 p.m. I'm also going to add in some planned downtime because our workers are going to take a break. They'll have break number 1 starting at 10 a.m. and it'll be over at 10:15. I'm going to add another planned downtime that they're going to get lunch, and lunch will start at 11:30 and it'll go to 12 noon. And then they're going to have one more break, and that break will be in the afternoon, break number 2, and it'll start at 1:45 and it's going to end at 2 o'clock. So of course you can enter as many reasons as you want for downtime during your regular shift. I saved this and I now have my first shift. You would enter other shifts for whatever you have, if you have 2 shifts or 3 shifts, but you do need to cover any time you would have production. So if you work before or after these times, you need to add shifts to cover your production time. So we're going to move on now that we've entered our shift. The system does handle users, but I don't need to enter any of those. But what I need to enter is a work center. Let's create our first work center. I simply create the new button, and then I'm going to call mine Work Center 1. And I'm just going to be monitoring pieces made. So I don't need any of my other signals. I'm just going to select, and then you see my junior that I configured. It's now reporting in to the Visual Machine system, and I'm going to be using digital input 3 for my pieces made. The only other thing I need to do is go all the way down here and set up a default production rate. I'm going to have mine making pieces 6 pieces a minute or 10 seconds per part. So every 10 seconds I'm going to be making a piece. And I just hit save, and now I have my piece, and it pops me in the lower right corner that everything's been saved. We're able to also handle routes and parts and work orders, but again, this is not necessary to use it for the system. We have different data views for tables and panels, and of course we handle delays. You can enter any reasons that you want and associate them with any categories that all made up for whatever you want to call them. And then we do have scrap reasons, but we don't need to do any of that right now. We can move on and see what's going on our work center. I can select Work Center 1. From the Work Center overview screen, we have a lot of functionality. We can see if an operator is logged in, if we're working on a work order, or if there's delays in progress. I can also see my OEE statistics. My availability is at 100%, because what my availability is, it's based on the shift time. Since I did not define a signal to be an available signal, I'm just using this shift time. So it's saying it's been 100% available for the current hour, but of course, as you see in the graph, I've not made any production yet. But we are going to start the machine up so that we're starting to get some production. Remember, I entered a target cycle time of 10 seconds. So every 10 seconds a piece should be made, and so that means there will be 6 pieces a minute, and if we're about 18 minutes into the hour, then that means we should have about 106 pieces. So it's 18 times 6, which is about 107, is 108. Now we're starting to make pieces. Okay, we're starting to make pieces, and we can see that a piece has been made, and it's going to start incrementing. Tells you the last cycle time was 8.4 seconds, tells you the average, and then see I have performance. Now my performance is really low because I've only made a total of 3 pieces, and I should have made 113 by now, so that's only 2.7%. Of course, my quality is good because I'm not monitoring scrap. Then my OEE is just 100 times 3.5 times 100 equals 3.5%. And here you can see each time a piece is made and what the cycle time was. And I'm running in the good. Our bar charts down here tell us if it's green, that means you're running at a cycle time 11.1 seconds or faster. And then there's a white, which tells me that I'm running at 11.8 seconds or faster. The yellow is warning configurable over here under your configuration general. Under the performance category, you set the percentage breakpoints that you want as a whole for the system. If I go back to my Work Center 1, I can see that I'm continuing to make pieces. Okay, so in a matter of a few minutes, we were able to configure one work center, and all we needed to do was to configure a shift and to configure the work center. And in the work center, all we had to do is define our total piece made signal and a default target rate. We can now go to reports, and you'll be able to see on our production report, we click down here, and then we select for the work center that we want to monitor, which is Work Center 1, it's our only choice. We can see that from the 11:20 hour, we've made 14 pieces, and our quality is good. Our target was 124, so our efficiency is 11.37. So within a matter of minutes, we were up and running, and we can even look at our efficiency by Work Center for Work Center 1. Again, our availability, performance, quality, and OEE. So that shows you how quickly you can get up and run using the INTEG Visual Machine OEE system.